Good Friday afternoon. I'm Jerry Miller. Welcome to the I Love CVille show. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille network. Great to be with you. A lot of news to get to and two fabulous guests. Claire Francis is going to join us in 13 minutes here on the I Love CVille show. She's an officiant in the wedding space. She's just fantastic people. One of the leaders in Charlottesville and Central Virginia's wedding and event space. And this category is large and robust, from florists and photographers and caterers and venues and venue staff and venue managers and officiants. A lot musicians. Ray Cadell comes to mind. A lot goes into this category. It's deep and robust. A lot of employment. In Charlottesville and Central Virginia, with the Pippin Hills, the Trumps, the Keswick Vineyards, the Castle Hills, they benefit. We benefit. There's a huge business and ecosystem in this space, and we're going to spotlight it with Claire. We're going to talk the impact that COVID-19 has had on weddings in Charlottesville and Central Virginia today on the I Love CVille show. And we're going to kind of analyze and see where we're going, see if there's any hope. The economy is according to the president yesterday on national television, going to reopen. He didn't really give a time of when that was going to happen. We interviewed Congressman Denver Riggleman on Real Talk, and Real Talk is a show we do on this network on Friday mornings at 10:15 a.m. and on Tuesday mornings at 10:15 a.m. Congressman Denver Riggleman joined Keith Smith and myself, and he said it was kind of an end of the summer projection for an opening, what he thought was the economy. But there's hope. I think in this hardship, we're seeing the American spirit prevail, and in this hardship, we're seeing innovation happen more than ever. We're seeing courage, and we're seeing people as Americans, as communities, as neighborhoods, as groups, as friends, figure this out. And I'm excited about it. I mentioned this off air to some colleagues, and I've been trying to really drive this home lately in my business and the people I network and interact with. I think, and I truly believe this, I think we as Americans, we as Virginians, we as Charlottesvillians will come out of COVID-19 stronger than ever. Stronger than ever. Leaner than ever with our businesses. More inclined to pivot and innovate than we ever have. We have had a really strong 12 years since 2008, 2009 to about 45 days ago. The economy has kicked ass. And it's been strong, and it's been good to us. And in those strong times, we have built businesses, and perhaps we've developed some bad habits, and perhaps we've rested on our laurels and gotten a little fat, if you know what I mean. This COVID situation is going to help us all, and not only as business owners, but just as people in general, interacting with other people, focusing on cleanliness and hygiene, focusing on social distancing, and focusing on mankind's future. This is going to help us. It's important to emphasize that, guys. We are an advertising agency. We have a satellite office in New Providence, New Jersey. I go up there every 90 days for a week. I missed the Q1 trip. This impacted that. We represent a lot of great clients, Interstate Pest and Service Companies, and Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine, to name a few. Two good businesses right there, Interstate Pest and Service Companies and Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. I know people are frustrated right now. You're frustrated because the small business, the PPP loans have dried up. You're frustrated because what was promised to be this relief from the federal government, you once again feel like it was a smoke and mirrors Ponzi scheme, and the people that were leveraged were the small business owners, you and I, the small firms, the folks that were the salt of the earth, and the people that were really the essence of the community. We were leveraged for some corporate bailout money, obviously, for some big-time companies and to some very wealthy people. A perfect microcosm of this is chain restaurants. Chain restaurants are getting the PPP relief package. Chain restaurants. The mom-and-pop restaurants, the ones we patronize here in Charlottesville, Virginia, are not. Oftentimes, the banks were giving the PPP loans to businesses, and this is a proven fact. Google it. Banks were giving the PPP loans to businesses that owed them money. Think about it. If you're a bank, why would you give a PPP loan to a business that owed you money? Because you could get the money that was owed to you. Banks were giving businesses to big-time companies so they could get interest. They were much more inclined to give million-plus loans than the loans for $10, $15, $20, $30, $40,000. Why? Because you make more on the interest on the bigger loans. So the working class common guy, the small business owner, was leveraged here for corporate bailout money for some big time wealthy people. Ray Cadell says Ruth Chris Steakhouse got $20 million. $20 million for Ruth Chris. The small mom and pops in Charlottesville, the small mom and pops on Long Island, the small mom and pops in Asheville, North Carolina, in Tennessee, New Mexico, they didn't get the money. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. But that's the way of life, and that's government. Okay? Government ain't going to come in here and rescue you. Oh, you don't have to pay your mortgage. You got mortgage deferment. You don't have to pay your mortgage for 3 months. Guess what? You have a $1,500 mortgage. If you don't pay it for 3 months, that's $4,500. Eventually, they're going to ask for that $4,500. It ain't going away, guys. We're going to talk about this. It's a brave new world, and the American spirit's going to resonate like it's never resonated before, and you mark that down. I truly believe that. Judah, I'm going to go to the phones, and Claire, if you're listening, we're going to reach out to you now. We're going to welcome Claire Francis to the show in about 45 seconds, maybe a minute. Claire Francis, a major player in the wedding space. Major player in the wedding space, and it has been for a very long time. We're going to get her perspective on this category. We have a lot of folks watching. I see Ray watching. I see photographers watching right now. I see a couple of florist company watching the show. And if you have questions for Claire, put them in the comment section, and I will relay the questions on air to Claire if you put them in the comment section. André Xavier has got big-time news. We had André on the program earlier this week, and dude was so damn good, André Xavier. André Xavier is a smart businessman and a visionary and a strategist and an organized tactician who understands how to play the game. And Andre, I see it every day with your business, dude. And he straight up said to us, we had a furlough 31 team members with CVille Hop-On Tours. He's the co-founder of that business with John Craig. Furlough 31 team members. How hard is that? Fortunately, we have not had to do that here at I Love CVille and V&V Brands with our team. Knocking on fake IKEA. How hard is that? Today, he's got good news, and I'm going to let him relay that good news. He is one of the good guys in this business and one of the good guys in Charlottesville. Judah, I'm going to go to the Dominion Custom Homes hotline and welcome Claire Francis. I'm calling her now. I'm giving you guys a heads up. Excited for this interview. And Claire, when we go to you, we'll get you to get that camera turned on for us. On the line, and Judah, will Skype her in now, is the talented, the visionary, the well-liked, well-connected, and organized Claire Francis. You are live on the I Love CVille show. Introduce yourself, if you could, Claire, to the world.
Wow, okay. Well, briefly, grew up in New York City, ended up in Central Virginia, and I was one of those people who just had a lot of jobs. I worked for a law office. I worked at UVA, kind of administrative. And then I discovered that there was such a thing as an interfaith seminary. So that's where I went. And I studied all the world's faiths and religions and all the ways people make meaning in life. And then in that process, I discovered there was a need for clergy that could perform weddings for people who were from different backgrounds, diverse backgrounds, Christian and Jewish, Buddhist and atheist, Lebanese and French. Pretty much had every combination you could think of. And that's what I do. That's what I've been doing for the last 16 years. And I'm just a few short of 1,100 weddings.
Wow.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're one of the lucky ones. I think we both are. We embody that quality where if you love what you do, you make your passion your profession, then you never work a day in your life.
Yeah, I love.
Now that's not to say that some days aren't hard. Some days are brutal. But when you make your passion your profession, it's much more rewarding. All right, let's talk. Let's talk wedding and events. We had Brian Schoenberg. The audio was a bit tough on
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
We had Ray Cadell on the program. We have André Xavier. He joined us earlier in the week. He's coming on later today. I'm going to
Great.
get out of your way. Wedding and events, Charlottesville, Central Virginia. Where are we at here? What's the temperature?
Yeah, well, I think it would be different depending on who you ask. I mean, certainly the folks at the venues, and we have so many beautiful wineries and venues. I think they're probably suffering greatly, having had to move all their weddings either to later this year or even next year. I myself have had to move all of my April, May, and almost all of my June weddings. So it's never happened before, so there's no template for how to do this. And I think the community is doing the best they can with having completely no blueprint or no way to know what's coming. Or, even when I reschedule a wedding, which I've done many for October, I'm still feel like, well, we'll see. We don't really even know if that's going to happen. So living in a time of unknowns.
And the uncertainty is, I think, is the hardest part of this. I think if we were able to say, all right, this is done here, we can budget, we can strategize and project to get to that point. Not being sure is what's really scary here. All right, can you put in perspective the category and its impact in Central Virginia? I asked Ray the question, Andre the question, Jen Ferriello, many people here. This category that you are in is like a top 5 category of importance in this community.
And the category meaning working in the wedding?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, I think it is...
How many members in that association you were in?
Right. So I run a local association called the Community of Charlottesville Wedding and Event Professionals. It's a little membership organization, CCWEP. And it's 10 years old now, right now. And we have about 200 members, although we have closer to 1,000 on our mailing list because we have lots of folks from the outlying DC, Richmond, Lynchburg, over in the Valley. Everybody wants to work here in Charlottesville. And I think people it's amazing how many people are employed by the local wedding and event industry. I mean, even the hotels depend in a big way on business from the wedding and event industry. So I think it's under-acknowledged generally.
Well said. I completely agree with you. The strategy that you are seeing from you and your colleagues to get through this. Let's first talk professionally, and then we'll go personally. How about professionally, some of the strategies you've seen employed?
Well, people getting creative. I won't mention any names, but one of our wonderful local photographers has started creating garden boxes for gardening.
Oh, I'll mention it. Eric's given me perfect. Yeah, Eric Kelly is a fabulous entrepreneur.
Right.
I mean, we're talking like high-end photographer, as high-end as it comes, and he's now an entrepreneur making cedar boxes for gardens around Charlottesville. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, he just jumped right in there and got more work than he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
So I love that. And I mean, generally speaking, one of the best things about this whole wedding community is the creativity. The floral designers and the event designers, and it's just so phenomenal. And the other thing I want to say about our local community is it's a very supportive. Everybody pulls together. When we're all at a wedding, we're all on a team together. We're not competing with each other. And I know for a fact that that's unique because I have many times had vendors working here who are from, let's say, DC or New York say, wow, you guys, you're all like friendly with each other. You all like each other. It's not like that where I work, where I come from. So I know the Charlottesville wedding and event community is very special in that
Very well
world.
said. Your fabulous son, Justin, is watching right now. He says, "Hi, Mom."
Ah,
Justin, congratulations on your new career and an absolutely beautiful baby. I've been watching the progress of your child on Facebook, and you guys are doing a hell of a job as parents. I'm going to throw this to you, Claire. We got photographers watching that were asking, what are you hearing from a PPP standpoint, from a federal funding standpoint, anything that people that you know are doing from a banking or financing standpoint to help get us through this?
yeah, I will just say that I really am not hooked into that
Uh-huh.
information, and I'm probably not a good resource for that. But I will say that just in the last few days, I've had several people in the community contact me, and we are going to be doing some virtual things for the wedding and event community, educational and social, and so that we can stay connected. So keep your eye out for that.
When we were setting up the interview, we were talking about fear and vulnerability and how it is so prevalent, right now. And how it's important not to succumb to fear and vulnerability, but to acknowledge it. I'm curious of what you meant by that.
Well, sometimes the things I see on Facebook are they're all about like using the time well and learning something new and doing those projects that you've been putting off. And there's kind of like a lot of pressure to be brilliant and to adapt to this crazy situation. And I think that's okay. But that also has to be balanced with an acknowledgement that this is crazy. This is, this is painful. This even for those of us like myself who have enough to eat, just watching and knowing that there are people in our community who no longer have a paycheck and can't eat, and it's painful. Just watching it. So I just what I was telling you yesterday was I felt like yes, it's good to be brave and courageous and go forth, but it's also important to just acknowledge what you're feeling and what you're experiencing because it's real.
Well said. Well said. Your daughter-in-law is watching with your grandson Gibson right now. They say Claire is the absolute best. We miss and love you very much. Guys, thank you for watching the program. I see folks watching in Northern Virginia, in Nashville, in Charlotte, in Asheville, and across Central Virginia. Mary Reiber and Charlie Ann Xavier, welcome to the program. André Xavier is going to join us, guys, in about 15 minutes on the show. Claire, the temperature in your colleagues, we've talked about it a little bit here. How about the sense of hope? I mean, are we talking like, look, we may be coming out of here. New York, the curve is flattening. New Jersey, the curve is flattening. There's some news headlines out there that we're seeing potentially some advancements in medicine that could really help us here. As Americans, we have hope. As entrepreneurs, that's who we are. Because who would do this unless it wasn't for hope? Because this is brutal what we do. What are your colleagues feeling and saying?
Well, what came to mind as you were formulating that question was I think everyone is hopeful and optimistic and can't wait to get back to what they do best. But I also think we haven't figured out, like, how are we going to do that? How are we going to have 150 people together at a venue? Are they going to not sit next to each other at the reception? Are they not going to be able to sit next to each other at the ceremony? How are we going to keep the guests safe and the catering team safe? And so I think it's a mix, between hopefulness and excitement to get going again, and also kind of how do we do this? How do we begin? How do we invite 100 people and make it safe? And so there's just a lot of question marks, a lot of unknowns.
Right. Guys, if you have comments for Claire, put them in the Facebook pages. The show's streaming on 12 Facebook pages, just put them in the Facebook pages and I'll relay them to her. You got comments coming in. Kelly Dowd is watching the show, and Kelly Dowd is an entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur in fashion. He works here, was it for CFA? I think he works for CFA here in Charlottesville as well. He loved what you said about vulnerability, and he asked, can we employ emotional agility to help deal with this fear, Claire? It's a good question right there.
Well, I would love just to have a definition of emotional agility in my everyday vocabulary. So I would kind of love to hear what that
Give
person
us
has
some
to
more insight
say.
into emotional agility. I love that terminology, Kelly. Ray Cadell from Big Ray and the Cool Cats has a message for you. He says, from an artistic standpoint, Claire, my bands are struggling with how to social distance and yet find some way to remain musically sharp. From March 13th through June, we are completely canceled. That's a very long time to keep at the top of our game from a musical standpoint. He's so right. Yeah.
I know. I don't know, Ray. My goodness. Wish I had a magic potion
Right,
for
right.
that.
So you
Yeah.
touched on this a little bit. I mean, do you have any prognostications or what's your crystal ball say of what this is going to look like when we're on the other side of this? I mean, our wedding, my wife and I's wedding, I think we had like 165 people there. Like, I mean, our wedding's going to be family and like dear friends only, and then maybe like a live streaming of the event where people can watch the live stream on social?
I did a live stream
You
wedding
did?
recently. The couple I had already married, but they wanted to do a little ceremony for their grandparents, so we Skyped it. It was quite an experience. Um, Gosh, I just think you're right. It's hard to even fathom how we're ever going to have 150 people together in one place in any time in the near future. And people have already started talking about like 2022 for some things getting back to normal. And I'm beginning to think that, maybe that's more realistic, that it is going to be quite some time before we're having those big weddings again. And in the meantime, we may be doing, a lot more of grandma's backyard and the courthouse steps and things like that, because I mean, you can't put everyone in danger. What a way would that be to start your new life
Well
together?
said. Well said. I struggle with this. And I'm going
Yeah.
to ask you for some advice. Just happens to be in front of a hell of a lot of people right here. As you're a leader, I feel like, we're leaders in the community. As leaders in the community, as leaders in weddings for you, do you struggle with the role? Like, what is our role here? Like, what are we supposed to do individually to help and motivate or help stay positive? I mean, we have these we have to share them. What is our role as leaders, do you think?
Yeah. Well, again, what came to mind as you were saying that was because I've been giving that a lot of thought, given the organization, the Charlottesville Wedding Professionals Group, which normally we see each other regularly. We have happy hours, we have educational programs, we have bigger events, and we all get together and hang out together. And that's what we've been up until just a couple months ago. And so for me, I feel like my job or responsibility to the community is to try to find new ways of connecting them. So I am not super savvy with Zoom, but I know it's the thing I need to learn. And I think what I feel is not that I have to figure it out, but that I have to bring people into the
Right.
conversation.
Yeah, you are one of your many talents is like you're a lotus, like you're a hub. You get people, all different kinds of people together. And like you are like the hub of the network in a lot of ways. That's a talent. Not everybody has that. And that's kind of like what we're trying to do here is kind of be the hub and then welcome people that have different perspectives on to share kind of what their journey's been. And then people can learn from the journeys of individuals in the community and maybe apply some things to themselves.
Absolutely. Just
You got this
people.
coming to you. This is a good question here. This is coming from one of the florists in town. Claire, who do you think one of the venues is going to be that's going to open first? Which venue do you think is going to open first? Which one's going to be the innovative leader here to get the train going?
You mean you want me to take out my crystal
Yeah,
ball?
I would love the crystal ball, please, because I know you have an idea.
Well, I do think that there's the possibility of Keswick
Uh-huh.
Vineyards being on the front line, partly because of the wonderful people that run it and who are Cindy and Brian and Al, but also because their main location is a tent. So I mean, I could be wrong, but it feels to me like less risky to be in a more outdoorsy, airy place than in a closed-in like ballroom or something like that. So in my imagination, Keswick Vineyards is a place that could lead the
There
way.
you go. That sounds like it was a great answer right there, backed by strong logic. Kelly Dowd is giving you his definition of emotional agility now. And
Yes,
his
please.
definition is Claire and Jerry, emotional agility is the ability to experience thoughts, emotions, and events in a way that doesn't drive them insane, but instead helps reveal the best of the situation. How can we do that? How can we reveal the best of the situation and see a possible silver lining? And then he says, "You're awesome, Claire." I love that. I love anywhere you want to go on that topic.
Well, that immediately reminded me of mindfulness, of being in the moment, and all of those things that we've all been taught and learned that are ways of reducing anxiety. We have to balance the planning for the future with just actually living your life in the moment. And I think for me, I know when I'm getting really rattled and really anxious, which I do, it's usually because I'm not living in the moment. I'm living in what's next. Oh my God, I don't know. I can't control it, you know? So I would say taking the opportunity to reel it in and just sit and be with it, because that's really your only
Right.
option.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You've killed this interview, by the way. I mean, this is just absolutely amazing. How about this? We'll close with a final word from you. A message of hope for all those that are watching and that will watch in the archive version of the show. If you could offer a message of hope for the community, for Charlottesville, Central Virginia, anyone that's watching, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it.
Well, I would like to say to all of the wedding and event professionals that I know and all of the ones I don't know, you guys are amazing. You're so creative. You're brilliant. And trust that, you know, you're going to find new ways of expressing your brilliance and your creativity. So I know this is a hard time. I know it's scary. I feel all those things too. But we're gonna be okay.
That
We
was beautiful.
are.
Happy Friday to you. You have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thanks.
Hey, you did so
You too.
well.
Have a good one.
You have a good one.
Thank you.
Claire France is just fabulous right there. Truly grateful. Justin, huge fan of Justin, her son as well. Justin is great guy. Thank you for joining us. I feel good about that, Judah. Judah Wickhauer is our director. I'm talking with him. André Xavier is going to join us. He's got some good news. He joined us earlier in the week and was talking about survival in COVID-19 as a small business owner. And he's going to join us at 1:10, which is in about 10 minutes. It may be in about 8 minutes here, Andre. I'll give you a Skype text here as a heads up. But he talked about the hardship, him and John Craig, of furloughing 31 people at CVille Hop-On Tours, a market leader in transportation in Central Virginia, and how hard that is as a business owner. And now he's got some good. He's got some good to get out, and that's what we're going to get out here. How I started the program has resonated with a lot of people. I'm getting direct messages on Instagram, Twitter, and a lot on Facebook, and now a pretty good email from a strong restaurant here in Charlottesville, Virginia. I'm going to reiterate what I did to start the program because it seemed to have resonated. Guys, what have we been, 45 days into this? 30 days, 45 days into this? The government is not the answer to survival for your family or your business. You're being leveraged and used by the government, the federal government. The working class, the blue collar, the middle class, the upper middle class, being used and leveraged by the federal government to help major corporations, major brands, and multi-millionaires get corporate bailout relief money. That's why you're seeing major restaurant chains get the PPP loans and not the small mom and pops here in Charlottesville, Virginia. That's why you're seeing the major big-time companies getting millions and millions of revenue and getting the loans from the banks and not the small mom and pops. The banks want to earn the interest on the big loans. The banks want to give the loans to the businesses that are already owing them money so they can get the money in the back end back. Okay? So forget about the relief from the federal government. You'll get a little taste with the $1,200 stimulus package. If you're married, maybe it's $2,400. If you have some dependents, some Bobby Sues and some Cindy Rays and some Bobby Joneses, you'll get $500 each for them as well. Put that money to good use. Don't spend it. Put it to good use and realize it's what's here and what's here, what's between your eyes and what's in your chest that's going to get everyone in this community in Charlottesville and Central Virginia and Americans across the board heading in the right direction. Okay, I truly mean that. And I see this as resonating. I want to emphasize that as much as possible with anyone who's watching this program. Give it a like, give it a share. André Xavier, André, if you're watching, we're going to go to you in about 30 seconds here. I get pissed off, and we had Denver Riggleman on the show, and he was so straightforward. Denver Riggleman joined us this morning on a real estate show we do at 10:15 a.m., and he was so strong, dude. He's like, it's the American spirit that's going to get us out of here. The American spirit. And he's right. He's 100% right. And we're going to come out of here better than ever, too. We're going to come out of this stronger and better than ever. I believe that, because that's who we are. André Xavier, Judah, I'm giving him a call. I have him on the line if you're ready for him, Judah. If you can give me a thumbs up on that. André, when we go to you, André, give us the horizontal. It looks like it's sideways here. We'll go to you here shortly. He's the CEO of CVille Hop on Tours, co-founder with John Craig. Huge fan of John Craig and André Xavier. That's good there, André. He's a travel entrepreneur. He's a good dude. I was giving you some serious props in the beginning of the show. Judah, I got the thumbs up. I was calling you a strategist, one of the best tacticians out there from a small business standpoint. You're organized, and you are. I've seen it on social. Let's welcome him to the show. My friend, good afternoon. Happy Friday to you. How you feeling right now?
Hey, Jerry. Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, we're doing, I'd say, better in a way than we were last week. So we're actually very excited hopefully for the long haul, but for now, we're excited for the short term.
Give us the updates, baby. We got some good news to get to.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple things. So for Hop On in particular, we actually got our PPP funding. So that's good news. Huge thank you to Virginia National Bank. We also got our EIDL advance. So that was good news. So that allowed us to create a partnership with another local company, 4P Foods. Partnership is actually really cool to us because it is a local company who is doing some local goods. So they're, partnering up with local farmers to deliver their produce to local customers. So it's not pretty much a for-profit partnership, I would say, but does allow us to keep our buses running and give us some hours to our employees. Because of the PPP funding, it's kind of a double-edged sword, We have to use that money within 8 weeks.
Yep.
To payroll. So we do need to find work for staff to get going. But in a way, we're very thankful for that. So we can get, business back slowly. So you're going to see the Hop On buses out and about during the week. Please don't think we're taking people around. Actually, they're full of, awesome local produce being delivered to the local homes.
Your wife is watching. She may be watching right around the room from you. I think she is, in fact. John Craig and André Xavier make an amazing duo. Tim Christensen says, we miss CVille Hop on Tours and beer tours on the weekends, guys. We can't wait to do this again. We'll get to these other comments here as well. Throw this to you. I asked Claire this question. Who's going to be the leader in the category that gets the ship going in the direction? First, before we get to a name, does it have to be a venue? Or can it be someone further along on the supply chain that can lead the charge, do you think?
I would say it is a combination of venues, wedding planners. The planners have a lot of influence to what happens in weddings, right? They're the ones who the couples are trusting as their advisor to choose venues, choose vendors, and all that. So I think a planner that I can think of is Adam Donovan.
Yeah, he's great.
He's one of the main players, so I think he can trends to what will happen. Are we looking at outdoor weddings? Are we looking to smaller weddings? Too early to tell, but I believe that Adam will kind of show us the way to what direction we go once we start doing weddings again.
Adam Donovan Groves would be a fabulous guest for this show.
Absolutely.
Someone tag him on the stream here. Let's get Adam on the show. Great idea from André Xavier. A couple questions coming in. This is a good one. This question was asked during Claire's interview from one of your colleagues. It's a photographer. What is a wedding going to look like, André and Claire, after COVID-19? I mean, how do you have a 150, 200 person wedding?
Well, that is a great question, right? So I think just to give you my point of view, I'm even not so sure that we're going to have weddings in October anymore.
You don't think we are? You do not?
I'm not so sure. I'm not saying I don't think I want us to have, but I'm not so sure based on UVA announcement, right? They announced that they're going to have graduation October 9 now. However, they have a backup date for May next year. So I'm kind of in the same boat. So I'm hopeful that we're going to have weddings in October, but I'm not 100% convinced. So, but post COVID-19, we're going to be a lot of changes. I think we're going to see more outdoor weddings. I believe we're going to see smaller weddings for sure. I think we're going to see a lot of hand sanitizing masks being utilized. But I think in a way, Charlottesville as a destination, it is in a good position to be offering those venues with outdoor space versus a city wedding that has ballrooms and in closed up space.
So that news just must have broken while I was on the show here. So André Xavier is literally educated. When did this news break? I'm on the Daily Progress right now. That final exercises for October 9th to 11th, tentatively right now.
Right. So yeah, that came out like probably 10 minutes ago.
Jesus, wow, this is crazy. So you literally are seeing me respond in real time to this. How is this going to keep talking to me of how this is going to impact the local economy, do you think?
Well, good and bad, right? Everything seems to have double-edged swords these days. By moving to October, graduation will affect the wedding industry indirectly. Now we're competing hotel room blocks with the UVA, restaurants to be busy catering business. So it will be interesting to see how that plays out. And then also, those dates are not definitely. So they're not for sure. So we have to be careful on how much, we invest on that particular event because it could very well be postponed once again to May next year. But if it does happen in October, I think it will be, we're setting ourselves up for a very busy fall. The Lock-In Music Festival has been moved to October as well, October 1st to the 4th. That already putting a lot of stress on hotels because, we do the logistics for the festival. So we're having a hard time finding hotels for lock-in as is because October, traditionally, it is a busy time for our destination, with weddings, football, all that together creates a lot of demand. So it will be interesting to see how we can kind of support those two major events at the same time.
This is a fascinating interview because I'm hearing about the news and then I'm talking to a really smart guy here about the news. Judah, I'm going to send you a link. I'm talking to Judah here, André. I'm going to send you a link from the Daily Progress website. This literally broke like 11 minutes ago. For those that are watching, see if you could turn this into a screenshot on the show, Judah. It's in your inbox. I know that's a lot to ask. André brought this to our attention during the interview. The headline is UVA tentatively reschedules 2020 final exercises. That's graduation for October. And this is crazy. This is, I'm positive. I'm almost at a loss for words here. We know the value of the UVA students, André, to this community and to this economy and what they do from bringing people and disposable income into the community. Having this has got to be positive, right? Are we excited about this?
I am excited with cautious.
Okay.
Right. And if you read carefully the announcement, it is a tentative date with a backup date already given. So that's what makes me a little bit skeptical, I'll say, that we're coming back to normal. So that's the hard part, right, Jerry? No one knows when we're going to resume.
So here's the backup date. This is to your point. And André makes very good points here. The backup date, the rain date, if they can't do it in October, is May 28th to 30th in 2021. I'm going to throw this to you. Having it in 2021, so far from the actual graduation, marginalizes the graduation much more than having it in October, which is close to the actual date that was going to happen. I would think, of course, being healthy and mankind being healthy, they're going to push hard to have it in October, which is close to May when it was supposed to be, as opposed to an entire year later when another graduation is going to be going on already.
Needs to happen. But again, we just do not know.
Okay, a couple things I want to throw to you here is who do you think is going to be the leader in this space to return things back? She thought it was going to be Keswick Vineyards and the Schoenberg family. What do you think? If it's a venue, who'd you have to pick that's going to be first?
I'll say it's a venue between, I'll say, King family and
Okay.
Pippin. And those two, they have a huge following in terms of, couples that want to get married there, and they both have outdoor space. So I think one of those two would be probably the would be a mix of uh, the outdoor.
It is. Okay. You're doing great stuff, Andre. I'm grateful for you coming on the show. Congrats on, stay going in the right direction. I know you always will. I love talking with you. Thank you for bringing the news onto the show. Hey, you have a good one. Stay safe. All right. Thank you, Andre. André Xavier, guys, thank you kindly for joining us on the program. You got the screenshot up? Wow. Yeah, put it up. Andre brought this to our attention. Oh my gosh. So here's the nitty gritty. Thank you, Andre, for bringing this up here. The nitty gritty is UVA 15 minutes ago announced that the 2020 graduation that did not happen is tentatively scheduled for October 9th and 11th. The backup date, the rain date, is May 28th and 30th of 2021. Final exercises, the conversation has started. Is this an Yesterday, the President of the United States is on national television around 6:30 p.m. And yesterday around 6:30 p.m., the President says, we're going to open the economy again. Now, obviously, the governors have the call there. So part of that is a lot of that is him trying to get his face on TV. Let's cut to the chase here. But he says he's going to open the economy again yesterday at 6 p.m. Today, at 1 p.m. roughly, UVA announces that graduation is tentatively scheduled for October 9th and 11th. This is a positive. If you're watching the program right now, thank you, André Xavier, for bringing this up. The conversation has started. I see this as a positive guy. I see this as positive. We're taking a a huge step in Charlottesville. Graduation, huge step for restaurants, huge step for hotels, huge step for transportation. Huge step for disposable income spending. Huge step for spreading the Charlottesville brand and goodwill all up and down the eastern seaboard and across the country as parents from everywhere flock to our community and try to celebrate one of the happiest days of their lives and their offspring's lives. This is big time. This is big time. And as a guy that's an optimist, I see this as a positive. I think we're figuring this out. We're figuring this out. Jacqueline Greiger of Barbecue Exchange says, I think the venues will adhere to the restrictions, so some of our businesses will have to wait till they allow us in, and we'll have to stick to whatever the restrictions end up being. You think? I'm wondering about that as well. Jacqueline Greiger was the fabulous caterer of my wedding, my wife and I's wedding. She's fabulous. Barbecue Exchange, Craig Hartman's business. Craig Hartman, I was trying to get Hunter Smith on the program. We just couldn't connect the dots. Hunter Smith, Craig Hartman, and Chris Henry have opening up a new business in Gordonsville called the Ice House. Anyway, to cut to the chase, Jacqueline says the venues are going to have to adhere to the restrictions, her prediction. So some of the businesses on the supply chain are going to have to wait until the venues allow the weddings to start up again. The venues have the power. The venues have the power. We should do like a board or like a pool, like an NCAA basketball pool of pick all the venues and maybe just like some kind of set the odds of which venues are going to be the first to have a wedding. Let's get this conversation started. Which venue in Central Virginia is going to be the first to do a live wedding? André Xavier says King Family or Pippin Hill. Claire Francis says Keswick Vineyards. That is a legitimate bet that needs to be made. I like the Keswick Vineyards call because of the Schoenberg family. We've also had a chance to get to know the King family. Here you see a King Family Vineyards hat on the I Love CVille Wall of Fame. James King came in here and kicked some ass and took some names. I think, Judah, do you have a prediction of a venue? Judah does not have a prediction. You do not have a prediction. Not even for the sake of a talk show, you don't have a prediction. I'm going to go Keswick Vineyards on that one. With a close set. I get the call for Pippin Hill. Why Pippin Hill is such a good call is that is like, it is owned. Lynn Easton and her husband are a behemoth in this space and have ridiculously deep financial resources. They own restaurants, Red Pump Kitchen. They own hotels. They own Pippin Hill. They own a restaurant, I think, in Charleston as well. They have ridiculously deep pockets. Jacqueline says our first one is July 4th at King. So there's that. I see why Pippin Hill would make a really good bet, though. Don't you, Jacqueline? With their dinero, I see why that would make a really good bet. Guys, stay positive. Keep your head up. Keep your chin up. We got this. The American spirit is alive and stronger than ever, and I'm going to close on this. I honestly, truly, truly believe that Charlottesville and Central Virginia is going to be a better place on the other side of this. I believe it in my heart. I believe it in my heart. And if you're just tuning in, get the screenshot up again, Judah Wickhauer, a glimmer of positivity and hope in the news cycle today. The news broke 22 minutes ago. UVA is considering graduation in October 9th and 11th of this year. The graduation that was just missed being considered October 9th and 11th. That's a glimmer of hope. Now, the backup date is not a glimmer of hope, and the backup date is May 28th and May 30th of 2021. That's no bueno. October, bueno. I'm Jerry Miller. It's the I Love CVille show. Enjoy your weekend. Take care, guys. Good show, Judah. Nicely done, my friend.